So fillers and heavy makeup do not go into the avoidant category. They can, if there's a lot of it, that person is masking. So like on the spectrum board, there's a term called masking, and it's really prevalent with women because if you have a man and a woman that's autistic, a woman is actually there's like a percentage that they're less noted to be autistic because they have the ability to mask. And what that means is that they'll put makeup and look pretty and overcompensate looking pretty so that people aren't distracted by their awkwardness or weird tendencies. Like Manic Pixie Dream Girl is a version of this. She's autistic. And most men idealize this version of Manic Pixie Dream Girl, not realizing what they're idealizing is actually an autistic girl. She's quirky and she's hot, but she's still quirky. And those quirks are just like things that are logical to them, high sensory, very emotional, but not emotional in the same way, thinking differently outside of the box, not like other girls. Like, so to answer the question, no, it would be the same and equivalent to a man wearing like lifts in his shoes. It's more of an insecurity thing rather than I'm an avoidant thing, if that makes sense. Let me think if there's something else. Yeah, so it really does have to do with like an insecurity thing. So the more masks that a person has on, the more insecure that they are. It's kind of the name of the game. I have a video that makes an example of this where I say that my mom shaved my head when I was a teenager because I said that I was really insecure. And we did it. It was a decision between both of us, so the internet can chill. But it actually worked because without this thing that was essentially masking me, I had to just be myself. Hair, makeup, the way we dress, when I have nails, don't have nails, jewelry, clothes, like all of these things are actually ways that not only do we express ourselves, but we also sometimes mask ourselves. And when we do too much of something where that becomes our identity as opposed to me, myself, and that's when you start seeing an insecure person that's masking. So if you followed me for a while, in 2016, I was all natural like I am now. But in 2020, 2022, I was like filled with filler. I had like, my lips were probably like 3 times the size they are now. Like I couldn't move my face as much because there was so much filler like here and here. It was like very stoic, if you will. And that represented all of the insecurities I was trying to cover up. I was trying to cover up the wrinkles that were showing up, or like the nasal fold or whatever that I thought was too deep. These were insecurities only I saw and only I felt, so I went to the doctor and did something about them. Or I put makeup on myself, right? Or if a man is super short and he's wearing lifts, no one else understands what he's feeling, but he goes to the store or he goes to the doctor and gets knee lift surgery. Like, these are actual insecurities. And when you do things to such an extreme where you are no longer yourself, now you're masking. Now it's not just an expression of you expressing yourself like as a being. Now you're insecure and you're covering up. I mean, it's just where we are in today's society. I don't care either which way. Sometimes I mask and I'm feeling like ass. And like when I'm sick, I'm literally wearing so much makeup. I will have my hair done. I'm in a full glam outfit and my full makeup is done because I internally feel like ass. And somehow I'm getting through this workday. In that case, I am 1,000% masking. I'm not secure. I'm severely insecure, and I'm doing whatever I can to just get by. So when we talk about masking, secure, insecure, it does not necessarily mean that you're an insecure person and oh my God, you have all this work to do. All it really means is like, these are things that are happening in society. This is how we as humans utilize them, and this is what it is. So makeup and filler is a form of masking, and it's when it takes over and the person no longer looks like themselves, and it, like, instead of enhancing what was already there, it looks like a different person. that's masking, and that's an insecure person. So you're going to have a lot of emotional turmoil. You're going to have a lot of necessity to validate their feelings. You might have, depending on what their eyebrow shape is, you might have a person that is completely unhinged. A lot of times when you get filler, like I did, the filler messes with the fascia having its ability to naturally move. And so what you're actually doing is you're getting tighter and tighter and tighter. Like the fascia, which is a thin layer under this skin that holds everything together, it becomes tighter and tighter and more rigid. And so the person also becomes tighter and more rigid. And what you'll often see is, like, if you look at my pictures from, let me see if I can find one. I cannot. Yep, here we go. So this is my face. As you can see, there's a lot of filler. And I want you to take a look at something. Look at the eyebrows now and then. This is not something that I like to say about myself, but during that time, I was not chill. I was having a really hard time. So this eyebrow stops at about here. It like arches up and it stops right here. Remember, eyebrows account for stability. So I was unstable. It cut off at my decision-making process, which makes sense now in hindsight. What I was doing is I was gathering all this data, but not doing anything with it. And I was miserable because I'm like, I have all this knowledge and all this ability and I'm not doing enough. That's what it felt like. And I was not happy at all. Thank God I was not dating anybody in LA for like years. I didn't touch no one. Because I mean, aside from like probably not even working out over there, I was probably not in a good place for dating. Anyways, let's go back to your question. So now you can see that this has grown out a lot. And then on the other side, on both sides, there's just a lot more length and there's a lot more fluff. So there's a lot more stability in myself, in my life, and some other aspects. Aside from the no filler and the minimal makeup, that it's like, oh, here's my face. The other picture doesn't, I mean, it's still me, but there's so much filler, it looks like a version of me. It doesn't look like Anna anymore. And that's the example that I'm trying to use. Thank God I have this example of myself and not of other people, because I'm like tired of talking poopy about other people. But it's a poopy thing that I did. Like, I had a pretty face before, and then I got a bunch of filler because I was insecure and I thought I was ugly and I thought all these stupid things in LA. And it got represented in my face. And all of that is a representation of insecurity. And then I now am back to really secure and good with my boundaries and all of that. And it shows in my face because all of a sudden, as I was doing the work, I woke up one day and I'm like, I need to get this out of my head. I can't breathe. It felt uncomfortable. Where it had felt comfortable before, it all of a sudden, it felt like I needed to rip it out of my skin, because it no longer matched. Everything is energy in this world, and our bodies are energy as well. So when we do something that isn't aligned with us, it doesn't feel good. When I got the filler, it was aligned with me because I was insecure. But as I got my security back, it was no longer aligned with me, and I wanted to gouge out my skin and like pull it out. So hopefully this gives you some insight. It does not mean that women with filler are just spiteful and crazy and mean and ugly on the inside. It just means that sometimes they, like me, have some work to do on the inside, but it doesn't make them bad people. They're all very loving, and the cheeks are still there and the love is still there. Maybe I should have cut this short. Less is more. Less is more. Again, don't forget, go onto my website if you're looking for a face reading or you want training on your marketing and sales.